sacks that we had, that we were sacked against Tampa Bay. It's just that's the wrong kind of game we want to be playing, and I think that's all going to be on the shoulders of this surprisingly deep, right? I mean, if we all go back to the beginning of the season, I think offensive line was on the top of our charts, our biggest concerns, along with wide receiver, and they have proven us wrong. So I would like to keep that momentum up and have a strong showing from the O-line.
Yeah, and obviously the O-line tried to get a little bit deeper this week, picking up Jared Valdir from the Colts. He tested positive for COVID this week, so his acquisition was overshadowed by his positive test. And by all accounts, though, he hasn't had any contact with anybody in the Packers yet. So it sounds like they obviously tested him precautionarily before he came, to practice or anything. He had a positive test, and he's not going to be practicing this week, and obviously not going to be playing on Saturday, which is disappointing because he, was a guy that played for us for a little bit in the past, and then played pretty well last week for the Colts. So he would have been.
Which should have been so cool,
Go ahead.
right? I mean, I think what you're about to say, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but to play for a different team in this playoffs, the same year. Oh, that would have been history making, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. That would have been the first time ever, and that's kind of due to the veteran practice squad rule that they adjusted this year. But hopefully the Packers win this week, and he's got an opportunity next week to play for a second team during this playoff. What about your pick for player? Let's talk offense first. Who on the Packers on offense needs to have a big game for us to win?
Well, I think I've been kind of saying the same thing the last few weeks, kind of as a theme. I think the Bears in Tennessee were kind of similar type games, and I think this game was going to be like that as well, where it's going to be a little bit of sloppy field, right? And we're going to we're not as concerned about the quarterback play, right? We weren't concerned about Trubisky, and we weren't concerned as much, I would say, as with Tannehill as their running game and Derrick Henry. So I'm going to kind of go that same path where I think with the sloppy play and the style of game that we're going to have to do, I think the key player of the game, I'm going to do the backup running back again, Jamal Williams. I don't want to see Aaron Jones needing to have 120 yards all by himself, and I'd love to see all three guys get involved. I don't think we've really seen that yet. I think as soon as Jamal Williams got back healthy, we saw Dylan, I think, get a handful of carries against the Bears. You can correct me. It's been so long ago because we got a bye. I don't know if you guys have heard. We had a bye because we were the first overall seed. But yeah, Jamal Williams, I'd love to see him have a big day, and I'd love to see both running backs have a big impact, both in the rushing game and some screenplays as well, right? I'd like to see both of them catch the ball and get some yards that way.
Okay, and since we already talked about the O-line, I'm going to go with Marquez Valdez-Scantling, MVS. I think, with Jalen Ramsey covering Davante Adams probably in a good handful of snaps, we're going to need a secondary guy to step up. Tunyon, I think he's going to get some looks too, but I think MVS is the only player outside of Davante who really has that ability to stretch the defense. Yep. And I think if he can be more consistent this game, so if he's targeted, if he can go the whole game without dropping a pass, I think we've got a really good shot to win this game.
Well, and honestly, and that's a fantastic point pick. And even if he is dropping the ball, or even if we're not actually throwing to him, I mean, just his threat of being downfield, it's not like you can let MVS fly down the field, and it's not like the cornerbacks and safeties are going to be like, no way he's going to catch it, so I'm not even going to guard him, right? Like, they got to respect the deep threat, and because he can take that top off so quickly, I think that's really going to give space for Tunyon and Adams, in that shorter, 10 to 15 yard route, when MVS is, flying down the field. So I love that pick. I think that is key. And as long as he can, I would say more important, this is going to sound weird, but more important than catching the ball, which is going to be huge, obviously, as long as he's quick on his feet and he doesn't lose his footing in that field out there, I think that's going to be more important almost, to just take that top off the defense.
Yeah, okay. What about defensively? Who do you think on the Packers needs to have a big defensive game for us to win this one? I'm
going to go with the old Preston Smith. everyone needs a big game. This is playoff time now, right? I mean, no bad games for anyone, right? Preston is potentially playing for another contract with the Packers, or another contract with another team. He obviously had a fantastic year in year one. That's why they're the Super Smith brothers. This year he's kind of been down a little bit, but he's shown flashes. Turnovers of late, a couple more sacks of late. And if we can get a tandem going, I mean, again, this is going to sound repetitive for all of you guys that have listened to each and every episode. It's like, God, are they going to stop talking about these three guys? But Gary, Zadarius, and Preston Smith, I mean, come on. If there's a time to have a game right now, anytime a guy like Jared Goff or something called Wolfield is stepping back into the pocket, I mean, we cannot let him or them or either of them be comfortable, right? I mean, we want to force some mistakes, whether it's sacks, whether it's bad decisions. And Preston Smith, since he's the one who's kind of lagging right now this season, I want to see him have a hell of a game and maybe make the play to change things.
Okay. I like that pick. I'm not going to take the obvious one. I thought about taking Adrian Amos or Darnell Savage, but I think I'm going to go with Snacks Harrison. He only played 12 snaps against the Bears, but that'll be 2 weeks ago once this game happens. So I think if he's able to come in, play 25 snaps or something like that, he's gonna have an impact on this game, and not only in his ability to come in and disrupt the run and press from the middle, but also kind of to relieve Kenny Clark a little bit and get our other guys on the D line some rest and keep them a little bit more fresh too for their trying to penetrate the Rams O-line. So I'm gonna go with big boy Snacks Harrison.
And again, I think you had a fantastic pick there. I would put him as, in my book, the most intriguing player to watch. Just because I think without him, we've been improving and we've been a good defense. But with him, we could potentially be, if he does what he should be doing, complimenting Kenny Clark as that interior, rushing stop that we truly needed last year, needed more at the beginning of this year, but have kind of slowly improved on throughout the year. I mean, that could be really exciting if he really proves himself this game. So I love the pick. I'm going to mark him down as most intriguing player to watch, though, this week.
Okay, perfect. Why don't we talk a little bit about our predictions here? Do you happen to have the Packers-Rams spread handy?
Well, before we do that, and I do have that, let's talk about the biggest thing I'm concerned about, and every Packer fan I think should be concerned about. Maybe you can disagree with me. Special teams. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be down on anything because it's the freaking Packers. Let's freaking go. Cue in the green and yellow song right now. But man, I almost am calling for the special teams coach to ask, unless it's in a desperate time where we need points, fair catches on every play, let the punt bounce on every play. Let's just not give an opportunity to cause a turnover on any kind of return. And let's just stay in our freaking lanes and just pooch any kind of punt and any time of kickoff out the back of the end zone. Because my God, if we give up anything on special teams, I mean, it's just unacceptable.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. It's something we have been talking about the last month or so. It's special teams has been an issue. Whether it's a big return, whether it's a fumble on our reception, whether it's a missed extra point or whatever it is, it is unacceptable. I mean, special teams should be not something you have to worry about. It should be, when you're talking about it, it's because it's a problem. And I agree with you. I mean, keep things simple. Don't return punts that don't need to be returned. Don't return kickoffs, especially that don't need to be returned. Let that thing bounce behind you. Hang on to the damn ball. I can't tell you how many times I shout that every time we have a return. But yeah, special teams has been a bit of an issue. And if we,
I mean,
go
honestly,
ahead.
at this point, I mean, I'd be comfortable if you have to return it, right? If they're able to kick it down, and weather like this is probably going to happen. They're probably going to kick it right to the 5. Whoever's back there is going to feel the need to field it. I mean, honestly, I'm being a little facetious here, but like catch the ball, take it to the 15 and take a knee. Like don't even take again, I'm being facetious, but still like just do not put yourself in that position to, put the ball in the compromising place to get the extra 5 yards, right? Like let Aaron Rodgers pick that up because we're going to do it. I truly believe offensively right now we are the best team in the NFL offensively. I think we can move the ball, and I just do not want to see, a third string, fourth string running back or fourth string wide receiver, jeopardize the ball by, being hung up, by one player, then someone trying to reach the ball out a little funny to pick up an extra yard, and then all of a sudden it's on the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And we talked about weather for, going to affect these offenses, but special teams is big too because, the ball is slipperier
I've heard it
in the
both
cold
ways.
weather. It's a little bit harder to slippy. It's harder to grip. You know what I mean? It's harder to catch.
Harder to kick.
And to your point, having harder to kick, and to your point, having a four-string running back out there, or something like that, who's not in the game very often, you don't have those reps, in the cold weather that you want. And if it comes down to special teams points, I'm going to be really disappointed. So hopefully we'll see them improve this week.
Yep, and let's just not test Crosby, right? Let's get in the end zone each and every time, right? Red zone, like you said earlier, we're one of the best in converting into touchdowns. Let's keep that up, right? Kind of like the Bears game 2 weeks back. We score touchdowns, they settle for field goals. I mean, that's the recipe right there, baby. Let's get into the golden zone, not the red zone. I love gold. That's. I want to see that celebration from Aaron and Davante here this Saturday.
I also love gold.
Awesome. Well, let's take it over to the spread. It's actually lower than you might think. The Rams obviously are the 7th seed, and they're playing against Green Bay, which, again, if you have not heard quite yet, the Packers are the 1st seed, and we are hosting this game. And it's a 6.5-point spread. And the over-under is quite low as well. And based on me saying that, you probably have an idea of where I think this game is going to go. But the over-under is 45.5 points. So, co-host of the Green and Golden Boys podcast, Marcus, do you think the Packers are going to win this first playoff game against the Rams?
I think the Green Bay Packers are going to beat the Rams this Saturday.
Go, Pack,
I've got
go.
Again,
Go, Pack, go.
1-0 in the playoffs. I think the Packers are going to, we're not going to have as much offense as we're typically used to this year, being going up against a great Rams defense. But I think we put up 24 points to the Rams 20, and I think the Packers win this by 4.
Okay, so you got them winning. You don't have them covering. I like that. I'm going to go the opposite route. I am going to look to the Tennessee game. I'm going to look to the Bears game. And as I've said consistently through this episode, I think it's going to be a similar game. I got the Packers blowing the spread out of the water, including the over-under, 35-17 Packers. It's a breeze. It's easy. Not easy. We're going to have it handled by the mid-third to fourth quarter. Go, Pack, go! Are you guys pumped?
Go, Pack, go, baby. I'm getting pumped up. I hope to God you're right. I just based on everything we know about this defense, I don't know how we're going to put up 35 points, but I really hope you're right.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, it's overconfidence. It's all this, it's all that. I get it. Yes, you look at the points that the Rams have given up, and it is impressive. They're playing some teams that are up and down, right? They played the Rams, or excuse me, they played the Seahawks 3 times, for example. The first time they played them, Russell Wilson was the projected MVP. The second and the third time they played him, Russell Wilson, was doing way too much. The Cardinals, up and down team. If you look at every game that the Rams have played, not only are they keeping them to low scores, but they're also, sometimes it's hard, like, okay, well, if you play the Bears a couple times, you could probably keep them to low scores. But even when you look at the average points allowed to the offense that, you look at the average offensive total that they're playing against. I mean, they're consistently keeping that down. However, I don't think they've played Aaron Rodgers yet. I don't think they've played Davante Adams yet. I don't think they've played our running backs